You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome to the program, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Okay, so we got control of the House. We talked about on the last episode. I'll do just a quick recap for those that for some reason do not listen to every episode, okay, of this podcast. What we found out, because something big has happened. There's been a big announcement today out of the Republican-controlled Kevin McCarthy, Donald Trump, House of Representatives. There's been a big announcement, but I just want to recap what happened for people that don't know. Well, we found out when Kevin McCarthy first became Speaker over the weekend is that Trump was working both sides. The MAGA 20 were working for Trump. Marjorie Taylor Greene was working for Trump, embedded with the McCarthy people. And McCarthy, I was telling you in the last episode, he is now a puppet of Donald Trump. He is a Trump puppet.
He owes him. He owes him now.
It doesn't, he owes him.
He got him in there.
He owes him, but Trump owns him.
Yeah,
and
both.
Kevin McCarthy is a Trump puppet. And I say that in a good way. That's a good thing. Being a Trump puppet is a good thing because we want Trump in control of as much as possible. And we're getting the first indicators as to how great of a deal Donald Trump made making McCarthy Speaker of the House. And this is huge. Jim Jordan, everyone who's MAGA loves Jim Jordan. And I got a special like of Jim Jordan because he's from Ohio. I'm from Ohio. Even though I'm in Florida now, I'm originally from Ohio, and I always like our people from Ohio. Jim Jordan's tough, and MAGA people wanted him to be the Speaker. Well, we got something better. He's got a new committee that is going to be probably the most important House committee in a long time, and it's being chaired by him, this committee. I'll get through this and explain the committee to you, but he's the perfect person to do it, and this will get a lot of coverage in the media. Now, I'm going to read this article from the Gateway Pundit. And if you don't read the Gateway Pundit or you're unfamiliar with it, you should be. Go to thegatewaypundit.com. You can't post articles to Facebook from thegatewaypundit.com. That's how good it is, all right? Thegatewaypundit.com. Republicans across America, this is the article, deserve to be thrilled with the news that conservative bulldog Congressman Jim Jordan, Republican of Ohio, will be leading a select committee known as the Weaponization of Government Select Committee. And this is pretty amazing, huh? This committee will investigate the abuses of power by the Biden regime. According to the Post-Millennial, which is a great conservative news outlet out of Canada, according to the Post-Millennial, this Weaponization of Government Committee led by Jim Jordan will focus chiefly on four areas. One, the collusion between the Biden campaign / White House and big tech, right? That's the Twitter files and all of that. That's amazing. The politicization, hard to say, of the FBI.
Oh, my goodness.
And that involves a lot of things, the fake Russian dossier, the wiretaps on Trump Tower, et cetera, et cetera. The Department of Justice's targeting of parents at school board meetings.
Oh, boy.
That's the third thing. And that's I mean, they were beating literally bloody parents at school board meetings. And then we found out the Department of Justice was like surveilling them using like things that were put in place in the Justice Department for Al-Qaeda after 9/11. And fourth, investigate Fauci. These are the things conservatives have been demanding from Republicans, and now it is going to happen. Wow. The Post-Millennial, this is what they say about it. The 118th House of Representatives will see the formation of a new select committee headed by Jim Jordan to dig into the abuse of power and the weaponization of government. This investigative panel will demand emails and correspondence between the Biden administration and big tech companies. This means they want to have a version of the Twitter files from Instagram, Facebook.
An official investigation.
And follows the massive revelations that came to light through the recent release of the Twitter files. Again, back to this is the Post-Millennial I'm reading from now. The probe into communications between tech giants and Biden aides will look for government pressure that could have resulted in censorship or harassment of conservatives, squelching debate, etc., etc.
I'd like them to investigate the January 6th committee. I mean, talk about weaponizing the government.
That's a whole other committee.
Investigate that committee.
The committee investigating the January 6th committee, that's another committee.
Oh, that's a separate committee. I love it.
If government personnel and agencies don't comply, subpoenas will be issued. The GOP and Jim Jordan are committed to digging into what was going on involving the FBI, which not only includes the work done to discredit reporting from the New York Post and the Hunter Biden laptop.
He's the perfect guy to lead this.
But all the Russian collusion stories as well as the Biden's Department of Justice going after parents who spoke out at school board meetings. That will be investigated. And, of course, Fauci will be a focus. And Fauci, that's hard to say exactly because there's so much to look at there. So I remember when Trump had that amazing meeting live on television in the White House in his first term with Pelosi and that jerk. Who's the jerk senator from New York, Kathy?
I know there's a couple.
The one that always has the reading glasses on. You know who I'm talking about. He always has the reading glasses on his nose.
Oh, Schumer?
Schumer, yeah, Chuck Schumer.
Who's the other jerk senator?
They're all jerks. They're all jerks.
Well, there's two in New York. So
all the senators are jerks pretty much.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so when Schumer and Pelosi were in the White House meeting with Trump and they were laughing, he's like, elections have consequences, Mr. Well, this is an example of elections having consequences. And what we have found is President Trump has taken over the House of Representatives. He is unofficially the Speaker of the House of Representatives. And everything that we wanted to be investigated not only will be investigated, but so far with Jim Jordan heading up this committee, it looks like it's going to be the investigations are going to be headed up by the right people. And Jim Jordan's not going to back down.
No. Well, yeah, we know that. So,
oh, man, this is exciting.
Now we know that Trump has, because remember Jim Jordan did something where he was kind of siding with McCarthy and people were questioning his loyalty. Now we know that Trump had almost like little spies or people on his side all along working this angle to get this stuff done. And anybody who questions Trump's involvement, just refer to what Kevin McCarthy said, how he basically gave him credit for putting him in that position.
This is amazing.
And he made phone calls, and we saw him on the phone with Marjorie Taylor Greene. So it really shows you that Trump is still very much in control of what's happening with the Republican Party, because none of this would have been happening without Trump. And he's not even in office or anything, right? He's a private citizen. And it's amazing. And he is still pulling the strings. And I'm really surprised Kevin McCarthy came out, but I think that was part of the deal. I think Trump probably told him, I'll help you, but you got to give me credit. You need to let everybody know that I made this happen. Well, because he did it. He went out and said it. I was pretty shocked.
Kevin McCarthy has been preparing his entire life
he wanted
to be the Speaker of the House. So when someone wants something so bad, they're willing to make all kinds of deals with people to make it happen. And Trump has gotten everything.
That's true.
These investigations that are coming out, this first one here with Jim Jordan's new committee is going to turn the world upside down. And, the media have had the television. When I say the media, I mean the television, legacy media, corporate media, mainstream media, which of course includes Fox News, which I think is the worst, because the reason Fox is worse than MSNBC is because they claim to be something they're not. They claim to be like conservative and all these things, and it's a lie. They've covered up everything we are talking about here with Trump's role in taking over the House of Representatives, and it's so historic. And this committee that Jim Jordan is talking about, Jim Jordan's got a big mouth on him. He's a very tough guy. And
he likes to be on TV.
And he's good on TV. He knows how to make points on TV.
So that's good.
So what's going to happen with these things is the cable news are going to try not to carry it. But what will happen is it'll be a delay. The delay could be days, weeks. And what I mean by that is, we'll be talking about it. The internet will have it. The TV will not cover it until they're embarrassed into covering it. And at some point, that's what's going to happen. And they'll start carrying it because they're embarrassed, because so many of their viewers will know what's going on. They're going to be like, what are you doing? Why aren't you talking about this?
If everybody's talking about it, they have to cover it, or they look like they're not even like a real news organization. They have to cover it reluctantly.
Well, that's right.
But they will for sure. They'll have to. Because
Oh.
it'll be just too much information coming through.
We have gotten everything that we've wanted in this House of Representatives already. Now, before we move on to the next topic, I want to tell you guys there is a massive sale going on at MyPillow.com on the MyPillow bathrobes. Now, this sale I'm going to tell you about is the lowest price ever on the MyPillow bathrobes. It's for all their robes, too, for both men and women, both lightweight and the heavyweight robes. When you go to MyPillow.com, click on the radio listener specials. Now, I just found out about this special right before I went on the air this morning, and we're in Valentine's Day shopping season right now, and the bathrobes I was going to recommend people order for Valentine's Day, and now I'm going to be talking about them a lot because this is the lowest price ever. Go to MyPillow.com, click on the radio listener specials. With our promo code Kane at checkout, KANE, the MyPillow bathrobes are just $59.98. $59.98. Now, this is both the light and the heavy, different colors for both men and women. The regular price is just under $200 for these. And they're calling it a closeout sale. They're trying to empty out all their inventory so they after Christmas and restock. This is the lowest price by far ever for the MyPillow bathrobes, $59.98 with our promo code Kane at checkout, KANE. Now, of course, you can take advantage of all the specials at MyPillow.com with our promo code Kane, not just the ones I highlight, but these are the ones that I am really, really telling you better take advantage of. You'll never see a price this low on the MyPillow bathrobes ever again. So again, it's on the radio listener specials, promo code Kane, KANE. All right, now there's a story that is really a disturbing story about this teacher getting shot in school. I don't know if any of you have heard this. It was in Virginia. A teacher in Virginia was shot by a 6-year-old student as the teacher tried to confiscate the gun. Let me read through this. The first grade teacher in Virginia who was shot by her 6-year-old student was about to confiscate the gun when the child pulled the trigger. She was going to confiscate it, and that's when he shot Brittany Gregory, whose son was in the class. The teacher was 25 years old, was shot at about 2 p.m. Friday. This is in Virginia. She was listed in serious but stable condition. Yeah. The teacher has been called a hero for warning the other students to flee when the shooting began. The 6-year-old has been taken into custody after this shocking incident, which the police chief said resulted from a fight and was not an accidental shooting. This is a 6-year-old kid. It was unclear what sparked the fight or how the boy managed to get a hold of the weapon. I'm looking at a photograph of the teacher. I don't know if they got these photographs right. Does she look like she's 25 to you? She looks much older than 25. But they say she's 25. I don't know.
Some women look older.
Yeah, she looks a lot older than 25. The teacher told the children to run. They fled to another teacher's classroom and remained under lockdown. The mom described the teacher as her son's favorite teacher who would leave notes in his backpack. I hope you had a great day. The teacher wrote on one, "I want you to know your smile is contagious," said another note that the teacher had left for the student.
So what was the fight about?
We don't know. Mother.
What can happen is if you have a student and like you're their favorite teacher, then if the teacher does something that the student doesn't like, that they don't like it. You know what I mean? If that's like their favorite teacher and they do something that's disappointing to them, they're going to have a bad reaction. Not with a gun usually, but they might get upset about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because their favorite teacher, they felt picked on them or wasn't as nice as they should be.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, this story is a little strange because of the age, or I shouldn't say strange, but just different. And they're saying that the kid, because he's 6, is unlikely to be charged, and who knows about the parents. I
wonder if they will charge the parents. They charged the parents of that one 15-year-old. They're still in jail.
They could. The parents could be in trouble. Okay. When I was growing up, there were always guns in the house. They were all loaded and they were all out. My family, my dad's side of the family, they're Southerners. They're from Arkansas. my grandfather was a retired police officer, and there were loaded pistols. There were loaded 38s, like on the kitchen counter, on the dining room table, everything else. I mean, there were loaded 12 gauges and other rifles all over the house, and that's the way it was. And from my earliest memories, there were at any given time 10 or more loaded guns in the house, all over the house. And I got a lot of cousins that were at the grandparents' house with me, a whole bunch of them, and we all knew you don't touch the guns. It never even occurred to me that I would touch a gun. There is parental responsibility in something like this. I don't know how far it goes. You know, if you're a responsible gun owner, you've got to teach your kids about the guns. But, you know, a lot of times, I never had an incident like something like this, but I remember in elementary school, this one kid went to the office because he was sick and he was going to go home, and we had wood floors in the classroom. And we were like on the second or third story of the school, and the teacher picked up his stuff, like his jacket and stuff, on his desk to take to the office. She picked it up, and a big knife fell out right on the floor, made this huge noise. And it wasn't a pocket knife, but it was a big knife that you could close the blade on, but it was a big one. And everyone, ooh, ooh. And the teacher was kind of caught off guard by it. And the kid came to the classroom to get his stuff, and she asked him about the knife in front of the school. And he's like, "Oh, I had that in my jacket over the weekend. I was out with my brothers. I forgot about it." And she said, And she said, "Okay, just don't bring it again." And that was the end of it. Today, that wouldn't happen.
No, that was before Klebold and Harris. That was before school shootings were a thing. And this was a gun, not a knife, but still, when I was teaching, there were kids stabbed in the school all the time. I mean, but in the 70s and before that, I'm not saying things didn't happen, but it definitely not like today. I mean, very rarely would a student do something, because now there's no respect for teachers. Here you have a 5-year-old, 6-year-old. They know right from wrong. I mean, still very young, but he knows what he did wasn't the right thing to do. And that's how he reacted to
6 years
scare
old,
her or whatever.
It didn't say what grade. That's either kindergarten or first grade, right? So, and I remember that when our daughter was that young, they're babies. You know, when they're in kindergarten, first grade,
for sure.
They're babies, and they really don't have an understanding of a lot of things.
But they know
might
bringing
think
a gun to school is not a good idea.
Yeah, I would think so.
I mean, I think at that age, they would know by 6 that definitely is not a good idea.
You know, I've never been,
and that's very bad.
I've never been a big fan of parents getting jammed up financially or legally when their kids do things. When I was in high school, there was a big accident where a bunch of kids from the school left campus for lunch. We were allowed to leave campus for lunch, and our lunch was only 35 minutes, so it was a drag race.
Yeah.
And everyone was driving around very fast, and there was a car accident. And all the kids in the car were killed. And there were 5 or 6 kids in the car.
Wow.
And I went to high school with them. They were a couple years older than me. And I was friends with the sister of the driver, and the parents lost everything. The kids who were killed, their parents sued them for everything. They lost everything because their kid was driving. It was their car. They were responsible. You know, so there's a lot of things, you know, when you're a parent, you can be held responsible legally and financially. It could be
right.
I'm not sure about that. If she's in the
hospital, I don't know, if she needs rehab and it alters her life,
or she dies.
Yeah, I mean, her family could go after his parents financially for sure.
They might, because the kid was only 6 and somehow got a gun, they could have criminal charges too. You know, the problem is,
I think that's going to start becoming a thing with these school shooters and the school violence is. Like they arrested the parents of that one kid, but they did have a lot of text messages and a lot of evidence of them being very negligent with him and almost encouraging him. But, I think this was just an instance, I'm guessing, where the kid just took the father's gun. But let me tell you, if you need to be a responsible gun owner too. We have our guns that are locked up in a safe and everything. I know when you were a kid, there were guns lying all over the place. It's a different time now. you have to be a very responsible gun owner. Little kids grab guns and shoot people all the time. There's accidents. They kill their little siblings or older siblings. I just think if you have guns, which obviously you have a right to own guns in this country, which I'm totally for the Second Amendment, but you need to be responsible. You shouldn't have your gun lying around. I mean, you wouldn't think your 6-year-old would grab it, but he did. He saw it, he grabbed it, and he probably doesn't understand the full extent of what he did, but I'm sure he did understand that was what he was doing was not proper, was not right. I'm sure they talked to him about this, so...
Well,
it's awful.
The way gun safes are now, like I don't want to give too many details, but we have a gun safe that's combination, right? And you put in the combination real quick. The buttons are huge. We got one that had huge buttons on it because if God forbid you have to use your gun in self-defense at home, chances are it'll be at night in the dark. So we had to have these massive buttons.
Yeah, they light up too.
And everything else. When you put in the combination, you do it so quick. The door on our gun safe opens straight up. It opens up so fast.
Yeah, flies open.
And boom, the gun's right there and it's loaded and everything. When I was younger, gun safes were a little different. They may have had combination safes, but they weren't as advanced as they are now. And people were talking about gun locks and everything. And I can't tell you how many times I'm walking around the house looking for the keys to my car.
Yeah.
You can't walk around looking for a gun lock if you got a gun at home to be safe. But I think people shouldn't do what my grandfather did and have 12 guns loaded around the house. I mean, they should be in a safe.
When I was a kid, my dad
safe.
had a gun, but he didn't tell us he had a gun. In fact, I didn't know till I was like in high school, and he showed it to me. And I said, well, when did you get this? He said, I've always had it. I just never told you guys because you were too, he just felt we were too young to deal with it, and he just didn't. And it was way up in the closet. He didn't have a safe, but he had it like high up in his closet where only he knew where it was. And when I was getting older and babysitting, he showed it to me. He said, if you ever need it, it's loaded. Just pull the trigger. It's ready to go. And I said, okay. But he said, don't tell your brother and sister. He just did not tell us when we were little that we even had that in the house or anything. So that's one way to handle it. I think leaving them lying around these days, like I said, it's a different time. Probably, maybe not. And you might think you know your kid, but you don't always know your kid. Mm-hmm. They might do something that totally shocks even you. So it's a horrible situation.
Well, a lot of times, too, what happens, and you see these stories, you don't hear about them as much as you used to, not because they're not necessarily happy. Maybe they are. Hopefully they're not. But like when people come over, sometimes I'll show them our guns. And I like showing the guns to people when they come over. Guys like to talk about guns and everything. Well, kids like to do the same thing too, teenagers and stuff, and they'll take out the guns and show them to their friends when mom and dad aren't home, if they have access to them.
Exactly, and that's bad too. It's just as bad, not just as bad, but my parents had alcohol in the house, and my friends would come over and drink their alcohol, and I didn't realize I didn't drink it. I was never into drinking. But my friends would do that, and I didn't realize how bad that was at the time. I was like 14, 15 years old, and they didn't drink a lot. They would just play around, have a shot or something, and just to be, rebellious. But I didn't realize until I got older that was really bad to do, because if something happened, my parents would be responsible for that. And
but then, Kathy,
you really have to be careful when you're a parent.
There was a story a year or two ago where there was an incident with a home invasion, and a little boy used the gun and saved his mother and his whole family's life.
That's true.
So, anyway, I'd like to know what you guys think in the comments.
I guess there's no straight answer for it. You know what I mean? Everybody's different. You just have to really know your situation.
The 6-year-old kid that brought the gun to school and shot his teacher, a huge, just terrible tragedy. Luckily, the teacher's alive.
Luckily, yeah.
What kind of consequences do you think the parents should face? Let us know in the comments. Should it be civil? Should it be criminal? Should the parents be arrested? I don't know. You guys let me know what you think in the comments. We'll take a quick break. When we get back, there's a lot more to talk about. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We'll be right back.
Your wedding day is a very special day for the bride and groom, of course, but also for the bridesmaids. When it comes to earrings, you want the bride and bridesmaids to have beautiful, unique earrings that will stand out and will be a treasured keepsake for years to come. And that's what you will find at Weddings Coco. That's all one word on Etsy.com. Weddings Coco on Etsy have unique wedding earrings and bridesmaid earrings at a price you can afford. They come with gift packaging inside of a box with a special message card enclosed. All the majority of Weddings cocoa on Etsy is nickel-free with high-quality plating and AAA-grade cubic zirconia stones. Go right now to Weddings Cocoa. That's Weddings, C-O-C-O, all one word, on Etsy.com. View their inventory. You will be impressed. Weddings Cocoa on Etsy.com. Start shopping right now. There is a once-in-a-lifetime disruption going on in the transportation sector right now. It's going to change the way you get yourselves and your things move from point A to B. This disruption will not only affect the automotive sector, but will reverberate through the chip, battery, and technology sectors as well. A major catalyst for this disruption is the recently approved Inflation Reduction Act by the U.S. government, which has shined a spotlight on the fledgling U.S. electric EV sector and promises to accelerate EV adoption here. What you may not know is that it's China's EV market that is a major reason for Europe and the U.S.'s push into clean energy vehicles. Want to know how? Have you heard of companies like NIO, BYD, XPeng, Hi-Fi, or Li Auto? What's more, of the 1.8 million EVs sold in Europe between Q1 and Q3 2022, 11% came from Chinese automakers, a significant increase from just 2% in 2020. And that number is only going to grow. These same manufacturers exporting to Europe have already announced that they'll be entering the U.S. market before 2025. Stay on top of the latest news coming out of the Chinese EV sector with the podcast China EVs and More. Listen along each week as host Tu Li and Lei Xing round up and dissect the most important news and events coming out of the China EV, AV, battery, chip, and mobility sectors. Supercharged with their over 35 years of combined time on the ground in China and extensive knowledge of the policies, companies, products, people, and services that are pushing the sector forward. All disruptions create new challenges, and in this case, existential threats to the legacy incumbents, so it's important to know who the disruptors are and how to compete with them. Learn how from the most knowledgeable duo in the space. Tune into China EVs and More from host Tu Li and Lei Xing, available on your favorite podcast platform.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Okay, Merrick Garland, there's a story today. I'll just read you the headline. Merrick Garland defies Biden vow to end capital punishment by pursuing the death penalty for ISIS-inspired terrorist who murdered 8 with a truck in New York City. Now, of course, who's against that? I'm not a big death penalty supporter. I know a lot of conservatives are. I'm pro-life. I don't advocate against the death penalty too much, but if I were on a jury, if I was in a jury pool and it was a death penalty case, I would tell them. And the reason that is because I don't feel comfortable making a decision, no matter who it is, about on a death penalty case. I don't either.
To end somebody's life. I don't either.
And I know some of you out there may disagree. That's okay. But anyway, the reason I share this story, though, is not to debate the death penalty. And the way this is written, Attorney General Merrick Garland defies Biden. Okay. Big question now is he still going to indict President Trump? You know, there's two schools of thought on this. Some people think now that Donald Trump has more power than anyone realized, and we saw this with what just happened in the House of Representatives, because the way that it's been spun by the media is that President Trump was out of power, people were tired of Trump, he's out. And, of course, Fox News and all the rest have been trying to do that. And then this whole thing happened in the House because of him that we've been talking about the last few days. So he's much more powerful than the establishment thought that he was. There's a new poll out today that says 65% of Republicans support Trump. 80% of Republicans want only candidates representing them that are endorsed by President Trump. Mm-hmm. And, you know, there's this amazing things going on, and the numbers are probably much higher than that. And so,
when do you think he's going to start really campaigning
soon
again?
Well, so to me, when you see what Trump did in the House, and then you see these new, shows how powerful he is.
Yes.
And the reason that he's powerful in the House of Representatives, if you're going to hold an elected office, the worst one to hold is a House seat, because you're up every 2 years. They're in constant panic. I was talking to a guy. I ran into a listener at one of our sponsors about a week ago, Friendly Tire in Margate. You hear me talk about Friendly Tire? I was at Friendly Tire getting tires for our daughter's car a couple weeks ago. And I ran into a listener, and he was, I was talking to him. He was a car salesman, and he's no longer a car salesman. And he told me he was making good money as a car salesman, but he says, no matter how good you are, you're only as good as your last sale. And he said you got a couple slow days, and all of a sudden you're useless to them, and they hate you. It's a terrible. He said being a car salesman. He says the money can be very, very good, but it's so high pressure that he was about to have a heart attack. Well, that's what it's like being in the House of Representatives. Because they're up for re-election every 2 years, they're in a high-pressure situation and this is a good thing for us, to constantly pander to the voters, to the constituents. In the Senate, they're in there 6 years. That's, to them, a long time. They figure that you'll forget, and you probably will. Like, look, I've voted for Marco Rubio twice since he trashed Trump, but we have to. Trump's even endorsed him, right? You got to do these things. In the House, it's not that way. So Trump pulled off what he pulled off in the House because the members of the House of Representatives know that the Republican voters love President Trump as much as I do, as you do, Kathy. You guys listen to this program, and they can't defy Trump. So when the powers that be, Merrick Garland and others, see Trump has these humongous poll approval ratings in the polls I just told you about, he just handpicked the Speaker of the House and ran the
Not only that, you have a lot of people in politics that have quit or been voted out because of Trump. Liz Cheney, Kinzinger. That's right. She was voted out. He quit because he probably wasn't going to get reelected. And other people quit or were not reelected.
And this move,
because
Kathy,
of Trump too.
This move over the weekend with McCarthy becoming Speaker, I cannot emphasize how historic that is. It has never happened before where any president, a sitting president or former president, has picked the Speaker of the House like this. It's never happened. It's historic. They should make a movie about it and write books about it. But that would involve praising Trump, and these people aren't going to do that. So I think it's more likely Trump gets charged and arrested now by Merrick Garland. And the story about him Merrick Garland defying Biden is so that he can separate himself as an independent guy from Biden, so Biden doesn't take the heat when he charges Trump. And that's why I share that story. It's not about the death, but it's about Merrick Garland's trying to establish that
he goes rogue.
He does what the law says,
right?
Not what the politicians say. And he's not connected to Biden, and he's defying Biden. And I think it's more likely Trump gets charged and arrested now, even though he's obviously more powerful than we realized.
Is there a statute of limitations on these things? Like, do they have to arrest him within a certain amount of time, or are they going to wait until
insurrection? I don't know, because that's what they're going to charge him with.
Are they going to wait until the opportune time, meaning like right when he wins the nomination for the presidency?
No, they won't do it before that. I was reading today. There are states already talking about keeping him off the ballot in the primaries. Like I've been predicting different. I can't remember which ones, but
maybe states where it doesn't matter.
They're already talking. No, they all matter. They all matter because you've got to go to the convention. You've got to win the primaries in these states to get the delegates for the convention. So they all matter. So
that's awful.
So I think it's more likely that Trump is charged and probably arrested by Merrick Garland, because this thing with
it's going to happen soon. I thought it was going to happen by now.
Well,
to be honest with
unless these committees, like the one we were talking about in the last segment with Jim Jordan, turn so many huge things up that the powers that be are in big trouble. I just saw this story. Listen to this. This is out of New York. More than 7,000 nurses strike at 7,000. More than 7,000 nurses strike at 2 of New York City's hospitals due to chronic understaffing, with the walkout forcing patients to be transferred, ambulance diverted, and procedures postponed. Let's see here. It says nurses at 2 of New York City's largest hospitals went on strike Monday in a dispute over pay and staffing levels after a weekend of negotiations did not produce a deal. I don't need to know the details of this. If you're a nurse in hospitals, you should not be going on strike. You could kill people. And, during the shutdowns and lockdowns, they threw these heroic celebrations for nurses and healthcare workers who spent the pandemic making TikTok videos in most cases. I mean, this is just ridiculous. You know, there are certain things that if you go on strike, it's dangerous. That's why when the air traffic controllers went on strike, when Reagan was president, he fired them because that's dangerous. You're making the skies unsafe.
Yeah.
7,000 nurses walking out of hospitals. It seems like
New York.
They say understaffing. They just said 2 hospitals. How many nurses can they possibly have? I know it's New York City. It sounds like they're overstaffed to me.
Well, probably a lot of people left New York. They probably lost a lot of nurses during the pandemic because that was where a lot of things were happening. And I honestly, if I was a nurse in a hospital, I don't even know if I could have handled that. You know, you don't want to leave your job, but there's only so much a person can take. And we know Cuomo did such a horrible job managing all of that. I don't think you had that problem here in Florida with nurses and everything. I know there was a bit of a shortage. I've been in the hospital since, and all the nurses have told me there's a bit of a shortage. I had a nurse take care of me that was a traveling nurse, and she was living in Miami, and then she was going to move to Orlando. I guess that's a thing. So, but yeah, I think it's awful, and I don't understand people that do that. They're supposed to be taking care of people, and then they're leaving, but I'm sure they have their grievances. I mean, they are overworked,
well, listen,
that's for sure.
Everyone has grievances, okay? Yeah. But when you're involved in a vital position like nursing at major hospitals,
or a police officer,
you go on strike, you should be fired, and they should offer to hire nurses elsewhere.
Well, what are they going to do?
I'm sure cave. It's a union. It's New York. They'll cave. They'll give them what they want after they, terrorize people. And I want to take a moment to thank our Patreon supporters for their support of the program. Thank you so much. And welcome to our new Patreon supporters. And if you would like to support the program by becoming a Patreon supporter, there's a link in the episode description, and there's also a direct link on my website, briancraigshow.com. Our top Patreon supporters get a live on-air thank you shout-out on each and every podcast episode. So the names you will hear now are our top Patreon supporters. I want to thank Andrew and Connie, Christine, Gary, ETW, Chuck, D, Pamela, Rick, Nick, Wesley, Rome, Wisconsin, Mike, Paulette, Dave, and Carlos. These are our top Patreon supporters. Thank you so much for your support. Now, before we get back to the politics, I don't want to get too detailed about this. I was going through the Daily Mail, and every other story is about Prince Harry and Meghan.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you this.
Now they're showing text messages. They're really just white trash.
There are no two people that I care less about than Harry and Meghan. I
can't believe it.
And, I got news for you. All this whining that Harry does about his daddy and did this and did that. This guy is a multimillionaire. He's a prince.
He's had a total privileged life.
He has no understanding of what the world is. No. A lot of people have no father, no mother. A lot of people
it's not unique to him.
No, a lot of people are orphans. A lot of people have abusive parents. A lot of people don't grow up in castles.
Both my parents lost their fathers when they were before the age of 10. My mom, her dad had a heart attack in front of her at 6 years old. He dropped dead in the kitchen. And my dad's dad died when he was 4.
Yeah.
They both grew up without fathers. And my mom was put away to boarding school. It was not fun.
Well, maybe Oprah can come to the house and they can whine to them.
But she never complains about it. She never whines about it. She said it is what it is. It makes you tougher, I guess. He's a big whiny crybaby, and now I think it's despicable. They're showing text messages, which I hate when people do that, when they take screenshots of private text messages and display it. I think that's such a horrible form of bullying. He and his wife are bullies. They are absolute bullies, and they're now displaying text messages between her and Kate about this whole thing with bridesmaids' dresses or something in the Daily. It's just awful.
Well, I talk about this often. I don't put much in writing, and if you
got to be careful.
If you email or text with me, and you get a response from me, it's usually one word. Sometimes it's 2 words. And I know some people that listen to the program have my cell phone and we text. And sometimes people make fun of me for how short my texts are. And I have a rule of thumb of don't put anything in writing. And what happened with me once is I don't want to say one of the listeners of the radio show who's, a liberal jerk. We had as a guest in studio once. And I made the mistake of giving them my cell phone number so that I could text them directions to the radio station and all of this. And they would just address, time, show up, things like that. And I found out years later, they kept my text messages on the phone and would show them to people and say, look, Brian Craig text messages me.
I know.
And even though these were
that's so awful,
minor things like what time to be there, the address, this is what we want to talk about and stuff like this, I felt violated. It's such a violation.
I think it is. I think anybody,
and that's just a minor text.
Unless it's involving a crime, where you need the evidence. I think anybody who shows text messages of private conversations is a scumbag. I'm sorry. I think it's a scummy thing to do. And for Harry and Meghan to do that, and I think Meghan is the kind of person who keeps all of her text messages, takes screenshots, and probably has them in special little files just so she can pull them out at the right time and use them against people.
Yeah.
And I think she manipulates text messages and is super sugary sweet in hers and pulls strings on people to get them upset just so she can show people. She is a whole other level of psychotic, this woman. Her sister was right about her. She's a complete narcissist.
And,
she's totally fake.
And I imagine a lot of you out there, if you're not how I am when it comes to emails and text messages, you might be after we talk about this. Don't put anything in writing. Keep very short, very sweet.
One thing my dad always told me when I was growing up, don't put anything in writing. He was a businessman unless you want everybody to see it.
Yeah, I'm going through my text now, unless I'm texting like you, Kathy, or our daughter. I'll give in this because we're talking about things. Mine are. I mean, this is like here's somebody I was texting at the radio station, and they're writing me kind of long things. Right? Here's my first response: thanks. Then they wrote me 3 things, and I wrote awesome. And then they wrote a very long thing, and I said thanks.
That's how he is with me too.
And then they wrote me another pretty long thing here, and I said okay. And I'm just let me pull up another one.
No, that's true.
Let me pull up another. Here's and let me find another one. Somebody that I was like, that I would like.
He gets a little more detailed with me.
With you, I do, and with.
But see, that's the thing. This is their family.
Yeah,
this is not just people they work with. These are text messages between her and his family. That should be sacred.
Here's one.
She's got it on the Daily Mail front and center.
Look, is
she's a real piece of work.
Okay, this is he may hear me that he may hear this.
He's so manipulated by her. You know what he said in an interview? He didn't realize he was a racist till she pointed it out.
Yeah, now he knows he's a racist. So he had to make her a princess.
So that's who he married. Okay, let's put a ring on it.
So,
oh my God, what a loser.
PJ's a friend of mine, PJ Gladnick. He's a writer for Newsbusters. He calls the show sometimes. He's going on the cruise. He is writing me. He's all excited because we're 19 days away from our cruise. He's writing me this long. He writes me this long paragraph about something, and I write nice. And then he writes me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14 sentences. And then I'm not telling you what they are because I'm being private. And then I wrote LOL. And then
don't take it personally.
No, I'm this way with all my texts.
Yeah, it is.
And then he wrote this long paragraph with these sentences, and my response was, this is like, I don't know, what about 150 words?
Yeah.
I wrote nice.
It's like an essay almost.
Yeah, and I just wrote nice. And I said all my messages are short and sweet because
I don't know about sweet, but they're certainly short.
They are short.
Yeah,
they
I would
are
say
short.
one word is pretty short.
And
you're using abbreviations. That's
pretty much. I just don't put anything in writing, and it. People sometimes make fun of me. I'll get like a text message, and people will make fun of me about it, but I don't care. But sometimes people think I'm being rude or I don't care. I just don't want to have happen to me like what Harry's doing to William.
Let me set the record straight because people that don't know Brian as well as I do.
I'm paranoid.
I'm
highly paranoid. I wasn't
going to say that. Brian is probably the least rude person you will know. I can be a little rude. Brian is very polite and very nice to people,
except
people that don't like. Well, yeah, but that's your job. But off the air and in your private life, we've been married 26 years. I think there's only 2 times I've seen you really lose your cool. One time was the guy at the IHOP where you almost got in a fist fight with him. That was pretty crazy. And then I think there was some other time, I can't remember the exact details, but Brian is very level-headed, always very polite and nice. And even people that write nasty letters to Brian, he never writes them a nasty letter back.
No, I get a lot of nasty.
He'll just ignore it or he'll show me and laugh about it or whatever. But he doesn't write back to people and be rude and be like, F you and this kind of stuff. It's just not the way he is.
No. And if I did, it would only be in one word. Right?
Yeah. Like the letter F and the letter
I don't know.
U.
No, I wouldn't do that.
No, I know you
wouldn't do that. I know it seems like I'm being rude, but I'm just being smart. All right, listen, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, there is a lot more to talk about. Don't go anywhere. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We'll be right back.
Want to know where all the bodies are buried? Author Robert Allen Miltenberg holds the key to that question in his book, Pool Boy to the Mob, Everybody Out of the Pool. Author Robert Allen Miltenberg holds the key to that question in his book, Pool Boy to the Mob. Welcome to Mob-Ammy Beach. This book is a fictionalized account of Miltenberg working at a mob-owned Miami Beach hotel in the 70s. If you're a fan of The Godfather, Goodfellas, or The Sopranos, you will love this story that's full of colorful characters and wisecracking wise guys. It's a story with everything from Playboy bunnies and weaponized parrots to shattering the glass ceiling and getting away with murder, all in paradise. This is a wise guy tale you've never heard. Surrounded by pools, the trick for Bobby Moskowitz was not slipping in the one thicker than water. Bobby lived to tell the tales, and now you can read all about it. The funniest mob novel since Jimmy Breslin's The Gang That Couldn't Shoot Straight. Pool Boy to the Mob, Everybody Out of the Pool, from author Robert Allen Miltenberg, available on Amazon. Order your copy right now. Effectively motivating, inspiring, and leading engineering professionals is about putting people first. In today's world, effectively motivating and managing highly intelligent technology professionals is challenging. Arm yourself with the knowledge and tools you need to become a highly effective and motivating engineering team manager with the book, Leadership with a Purpose, Motivating Your Engineers, by author Robert D. Murphy. Engineers working in the modern-day workforce are becoming increasingly more informed about their careers and employers, making employee retention a full-time job. This is your guidebook to effectively motivating, inspiring, and leading professionals at all levels, keeping them happy and loyal to you. When you read Leadership with a Purpose, you'll learn how to establish a healthy engineering culture, how to cultivate it, and how to build trust with your teams. Give yourself a roadmap to successful leadership with Leadership with a Purpose, Motivating Your Engineers, from author Robert D. Murphy. Available in Kindle and paperback. Order your copy right now on Amazon. Add some warmth and personality to your home with a throw blanket from Throw Blanket Wall Art. Throw blankets make it easy to add the cozy finishing touches to your home decor. Throw blankets from Throw Blanket Wall Art are made of 100% high-quality cotton. They're made to order, carefully woven, and shipped straight to your doorstep. When you visit their online store at throwblanketwallart.com, browse their selection of beautiful throw blankets, like their best-selling botanical woven throw blanket, their boho floral throw blankets, butterfly and cat blankets, and many more stunning designs and patterns. Every blanket is extra durable and machine washable. You can use them as an outdoor throw on your patio, a wall tapestry, a couch throw, or bedspread. They're good as a beach or picnic blanket too. It's up to you. Throw blankets are a fun and stylish way to stay comfortable, and they make the perfect thoughtful gift for someone special in your life. Home is where your blanket is. Shop the gorgeous throw blankets from Throw Blanket Wall Art. Visit throwblanketwallart.com to order yours right now. throwblanketwallart.com. Discover the wisdom and fun in word learning. Dictionaries only give a basic understanding of words. Add the benefits of a visual dictionary to your language learning toolkit with the CHAM 20,000 Vocabulary 1. From author Yawen Zhang, CHAM 2000 Vocabulary 1 explains the meaning of over 5,400 words using images and diagrams. This provides you with the knowledge you need to gain a deeper understanding of language. This dictionary is an invaluable resource for any language learner, explaining both concrete and abstract words. If you're having trouble understanding the abstract concepts conveyed by words, this visual dictionary is the key you've been missing. Grow and strengthen your understanding of language with the CHAM 20,000 Vocabulary 1 from author Yawen Zhang. Order your copy from the Google Play Store or by visiting pubu.com.tw.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at briancraigshow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. I was just reading this article at Mediaite. Mediaite is very left-wing, okay? Very left-wing. They hate Trump. They hate Republicans. But they bring up a couple things here I wanted to talk about. This is in Mediaite right now. Trump took to social media. He first congratulated Speaker Kevin McCarthy for his eventual election after 15 dramatic votes and included a video of Kevin McCarthy giving credit to Trump for his role in his success, which we've been talking about. Trump then turned to Mitch McConnell and his wife, Elaine Chao, calling her Coco Chow. And this is the thing about Coco Chow. Elaine Chao, this is just really burns me how the media operate. Elaine Chao was President Trump's Secretary of Transportation. She is the wife and Chinese CCP handler of Mitch McConnell. And she comes from a very prominent, very wealthy family in China. Okay, very rich, very powerful, very connected, and I believe she's Mitch McConnell's handler. Why else would this woman, she's an average-looking woman, she's not unattractive, be married to the ugliest man in Washington, D.C., Mitch McConnell? She's obviously his handler. But he keeps calling her Coco Chow, and people keep saying that this is racist. Has it occurred to anyone that maybe her nickname is Coco? You know, women have nicknames, and I haven't heard anyone in the press they keep talking about Coco Chow and calling it racist. Her last name is Chow, okay? Where does Coco come in involving Chinese people?
I don't know.
I
just think of Coco Chanel.
Yeah, Coco Chanel. I think Coco is Elaine Chow's nickname. Like, you know, a lot of people have nicknames.
Yeah.
And a lot of women have nicknames. And I think Coco is what Mitch McConnell calls her. And I've suspected this since this first came out about Coco Chow. It's not her last name is Chow, Elaine Chow. Her last name is Chow. Mm-hmm. I've never heard anyone call her Elaine. I've heard her referred to Coco many times now.
By who?
President Trump in the media when they talk about it.
Yeah.
And since the first time I heard this, I started thinking to myself, well, where's the racist, derogatory Chinese thing come from Coco? I don't understand that. I don't get that. And then I started thinking about it. I said, I bet you that's her nickname. And now they brought it up again because he mentioned it. And I think the reason that he calls her Coco Chow in his Truth Social things is because she worked for him. She was in President Trump's cabinet. She was the Secretary of Transportation. And I think he and everybody else call her Coco, and he just calls her Coco Chow because that's just what they call her. And there's a thing about people's names that have 3 syllables and kind of go together. Like, instead of just calling her Coco, probably everybody calls her Coco Chow. I think Coco is her nickname.
Maybe.
I don't think there's any racism there. And
well, everything Trump does is racist.
Everything he does is wrong.
Everything Republicans do is racist.
I know.
So that's how it is.
It's so okay. So Michael Strahan has gotten involved in this Damar Hamlin thing, okay? And Strahan, he talks like Mike Tyson. I don't know why this guy's on TV all the time. Can't even talk. And Michael Strahan, he thinks he's all that because he went up in space. Bezos sent him up in space on the penis rocket.
Yeah.
Okay. Michael Strahan appeared to go after his Fox Sports colleague, Skip Bayless, over his controversial tweet after Buffalo Bills safety Damar Hamlin suffered cardiac arrest. In a stunning commentary on Fox NFL Sunday, the retired New York Giants legend, without naming Bayless, seemed to very clearly go after the host, who was widely condemned for a tweet that many deemed insensitive moments after Hamlin's injury. There were things done here by somebody at this network that was inhumane, Strahan said. Sensible people, sensible human beings have a heart, and they understand that your words and what you say really have an impact. Bayless has continued to receive intense criticism over his tweet, for which he apologized for. And here's the thing, I apologize to Marjorie Taylor Greene, that's a rare thing but she's not a liberal. I tell people all the time, when you apologize to liberals, they never accept the apology. They take the apology as a confession, and they use that apology that they call a confession to destroy you. You cannot apologize to liberals. In an argument with his co-host, Bayless claimed nobody had a problem with that tweet. Strahan, though, seems to have a problem with it. Okay. When the guy woke up from the coma in the hospital, first thing he said is, did we win? Or who won? Was either who won or did we win?
Who won the game?
Who won the game? So they lied to him. They said you won, which implies that his team won the game. And now they're saying, well, they meant that because he was alive. So they lied to him. They thought when Hamlin woke up, they thought if they told him the truth, that his teammates are such girls that they cried and fell down and couldn't continue, that it would harm him health-wise. That it would. So
that tells you everything right
there. So they
there.
lied to him to make
exactly because they knew the truth wasn't good.
They thought the truth would cause him to go back into a coma.
Right.
So
or have another heart attack.
And exactly. And feel guilt that his team they lost that opportunity to win.
So ask Michael Strahan, well, why did they lie about the game if it was such a good thing to do?
Well, that didn't come up. See, that did not come up.
Yeah.
And
because they all are nice to each other. They don't challenge each other on these things.
This thing about Bayless with the tweet, the sticks and stones little limerick, that they must not do that anymore, kids, because words seem to be very hurtful to millennials and these Zoomers. They want to destroy people over their words.
It's incredible how somebody tweets something and they want to just destroy your career, destroy your
words
life.
Are not violence.
No.
Sticks and stones may
but they are now.
It's sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me, right? Or shall never hurt me. Sometimes I've heard it say that way too. And it seems to me that the millennials and the Zoomers think words are the most harmful thing that are out there.
Yep. I guess so. And that's how they're snowflakes. That's why they easily melt.
Snowflakes.
Yeah.
Snowflakes.
That's right. And they can't handle it.
And we've got two generations, millennials and Zoomers, of the wimpiest men. And I see this when Kathy and I are out. We go to the mall, right? And I see the dads that have the kids that are under 10 years old. They're like women. Aren't they? I mean, they're like women.
Yeah, they're very effeminate.
There's not, I don't get it. I feel so bad for girls today, what they got to choose from.
I think that's what they like.
Girls?
Now. Yeah, the younger girls, that's what they like now.
Wimpy guys that aren't tough.
I guess so. I guess that's the trend.
When
toxic masculinity.
When I was like a teenager and like in my early 20s, the way guys were, we did all kinds of stupid stuff, right? Chew tobacco, got dip, drinking beer, trying to, smoke. I was never a smoker. I tried. I couldn't pick it up, thankfully. So, but these guys today, I see them and they are just so
super health conscious,
super effeminate.
Yeah, they don't even drink regular milk. That's why they call them soy boys.
That's right.
They can't even drink regular milk. It's too intense. And now they're all giving up alcohol for January. This is the newest thing with young people.
Who's giving up alcohol for
January?
Everybody.
Who's everybody? All these young people, they go dry for January. It's a thing now on TikTok.
Dry for January.
Dry January.
Oh, dry January.
Dry January. And all these young guys are giving up booze.
For what? For Starbucks?
Just for fun. Yeah, exactly. Just for fun. I don't know. Just because it's a trend.
I don't know.
Social media has been harmful, more harm than good to society for sure.
What they've done to turn men into girls today, and this thing with the football players are supposed to be the toughest of the tough, next to like soldiers You know?
they are tough. They take a beating. It's a tough job, and it's very physical. There's a lot of pressure. And, the Dolphins are going to the playoffs for the first time in 20-something years, so that's exciting.
Well, Kathy, I can remember my cousin played football, and this was not even in high school football. This was like in the Pee Wee League, right? And I remember this was crazy. He dislocated his shoulder, right? The coach put the shoulder back in place, and he went out there and finished the game. And that's how it used to be.
That's how it used to be?
That's how it used to be.
People were tougher,
and
sure.
I don't know, how old are you in Pee Wee football? 12? Something like that?
Maybe 9 or 10.
9? Well, he was older than me, so he seemed older. I was a little kid. And he dislocated his shoulder. The coach, not even a doctor.
Oh, now that coach would go to jail.
He would, wouldn't he?
He'd go to jail.
For practicing
the parents
medicine.
Would sue the school. Yeah, exactly, for practicing medicine without a license.
Or something.
He would get in trouble. The school would be sued.
Yeah.
The problem is the parents, and it started with our generation, because the millennials and the Gen Z are products of us and society. It's the helicopter parenting, the coddling, the trophies for everything. And our generation condoned a lot of this behavior and allowed it. And then the social media and society in general has just compounded it and made it, taken it and just run with it.
That's
and
right.
It's just crazy. Right? It's just out of control.
Now, one of my
teachers don't want to give grades anymore because it might hurt their feelings.
One of my favorite types of candy are M&Ms. And now M&Ms have gone woke. Listen to this.
This is nuts.
Mars and this kind of fits in what we're talking about. Mars has unveiled a woke limited edition all-female M&M bag that features lesbian and fat-positive M&Ms to honor women. I guess they could think of no better way to honor women than having plus-size M&Ms and
That's
lesbians.
Just stupid.
Why don't they have anyone that looks like, bikini model M&M? I don't know. The packaging, which is upside down for some reason, celebrates women who are flipping the status quo. That's why they're having a flipped-over, upside-down package. The green and brown M&Ms represent lesbians. The purple M&M promotes body positivity. Fox News reports M&M's creator Mars will release an all-female M&M candy package for a limited time to honor women who are flipping the status quo. The company announced the feminist-forward candy wrappers Thursday, saying that will exclusively display M&M's female characters, the green, brown, and mostly recently introduced purple M&M. In addition to featuring the 3 female M&Ms on the wrappers, each package in this limited run will only include the corresponding green, brown, and purple candy-coated chocolates. The package will feature the female M&Ms flipped upside down to represent how women are flipping how they define success. The series will come in milk chocolate, peanut, and peanut butter varieties. Well, what about the transgender M&Ms? Where is the transgender?
That's coming next.
M&M?
I don't know why these companies have to sexualize
M&Ms
candy.
And
That's just bizarre.
And
do they not learn from Bed Bath & Beyond? Are they not learning from Disney, from these companies, go woke, go broke? Why even make it a thing?
Yeah.
Why even give, they do have M&Ms that are male and female, though. They've had those characters for a long time on the commercials, and they're cute. They've been part of the thing. So I guess they feel they have to do that to represent everybody. And I think it's just bizarre.
Okay,
I'm sorry. Do they really think this is going to help them sell more M&Ms? It's crazy.
So they have the 2 lesbian M&Ms that are together,
insane,
and like standing next to each other,
holding hands.
And then they have the plus size M&M who's all by herself. So nobody wants to be with her. She can't have a male M&M with her.
I guess not.
And why are they putting a plus size person next to the lesbians? Like it's the same thing to be overweight as it is to be gay.
I guess they're both a victim.
This is just stupid.
Yeah, it is stupid. They're just into victimhood. They're into
just
it's a whole new world.
You know what this is? You got lesbians running. Or I guess overweight lesbians running M&Ms. I mean,
or guys that are into overweight lesbians.
Overweight. Who's going to say to themselves, "Oh, there's lesbian M&Ms on that package. Let's go try some M&Ms."
Some people have too much time on their hands.
I mean, we eat M&Ms. We typically have M&Ms in the house.
Yeah, I like M&Ms.
My favorite are the peanut M&Ms.
Yeah. Peanut butter filled are good too.
Yeah, but I don't know. I can't eat too many of those. I'm allergic to peanut butter. But
yeah, me too. I have a small allergy to peanuts, so I don't eat peanuts anymore, unfortunately.
I just don't see someone saying, you know, we got to run out to the store. We got to pick up some M&Ms because there's lesbian M&Ms now. It just seems so dumb.
I don't get it. It is dumb. It's just dumb. I mean, I just don't get it. I mean, they made Velma gay. They feel the need to make cartoon character. They talked about SpongeBob being gay forever.
Yeah.
The Teletubbies.
Yeah.
I don't know why the gays have to latch on to these characters.
They took the rainbow. They took the rainbow.
SpongeBob isn't a sexual character. He's not gay, or he's just asexual. He's just a sponge, and he doesn't have a girlfriend. He never had a wife or anything. But they had to make it a thing, and talk about it.
We're in trouble.
Whatever.
We're in trouble, guys. But listen, we're out of time, thankfully. So, all right. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. I don't know if I.
Getting into a weird area.
If I'm at the store and I see the lesbian M&Ms, maybe I'll grab a bag.
Grab a bag and do a short about it.
I'll do a short on YouTube and I'll taste the.
When does it come out?
I don't know. I'll find out. But I'll do a taste test. The lesbian M&Ms versus the straight M&Ms and see if they taste the same.
That's just so
I don't know.
strange.
What can I don't know. I'm trying to think. It's just very strange. The straight
I would
M&Ms.
hope that they do. I would hope that they don't change the taste of it. I don't even want to go there.
I don't know.
Yeah. It's weird. I mean, exactly. It's just I don't know how
they should have hired Rosie O'Donnell to pose for the M&M on
for
the
package. For the gay fat one.
Exactly.
Maybe they
exactly.
did. I don't know.
All right, guys. We'll talk to you next time.
From author John Philip S. DeRocha comes your next must-read book, A Shocking Call, available on Amazon and BarnesandNoble.com. All his life, Simon, a middle-aged actor, wondered who he really was. One day, he receives an explosive email. He was both surprised and excited by the news. Simon learned that his biological father is still alive and lives in Canada. From that moment on, his life changed drastically. He embarks on a journey of the past that begins in Canada. For the first time, he met his biological father, Peter, and his new family members. Together with Peter's estranged wife, Anita, he explored the background to his hidden truth that's been going on for over 4 decades. They travel back in time and put together the puzzle that seems to be Simon's life. He was full of doubt and confusion for the majority of his life. He was always thinking that some things just didn't make sense, but he never had the explanation until he discovered who his biological father was. Then, the oppressed and hidden talents come to life, and he is very well aware of his plan to tell his life story. A Shocking Call can help others in similar situations dive into a child's world, the fears, the pain, and possibly suffering less when they see the positive side of discovering the truth. Order your copy of A Shocking Call from author John Philip S. DeRocha, available on Amazon and BarnesandNoble.com.